You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and, of course, the Glebe Central Pub. Go to the Glebe Central Pub website. Check out when you can get on the Glebe Central Pub shuttle to go to Sens games. And, of course, visit them at 779 Bank Street. The Glebe Central Pub is our pub in Ottawa. I'm your host, Brandon Pillar, joined by Lalime's Martian. We got producer Ross behind the scenes, and we got 332 Sens fans joining us for a vibecast in a 2-1 win over the New Jersey Devils. Martian, this was an interesting game. You and Ross got to chop up one of the most eventful games of the year yesterday. This game, very different vibes, but somehow, some way, the Ottawa Senators survive and come out with a 2-1 regulation win. I'll start with this, Martian. Did you think there was any chance the Ottawa Senators could pull out a regulation win after that first period?
I'm not going to lie to you, Pilsy. I saw that first period and I thought, oh boy, it's going to take these boys a long time to get their legs going here, especially after, finishing the game yesterday, having to hop on a bird, not getting into New Jersey until I think they said 10 p.m. or so. So then you got probably another hour or two before you're actually settled in your hotel and maybe getting a little shut-eye there. And then you're right back at it first thing today, arriving 12 hours later from arrival in New Jersey to the rink to get ready for another matinee game here. And it was pretty obvious right from the hop of this one that the Sens weren't quite all the way ready to go at the start of the game, but then their legs eventually, they found them. And a big thanks to Anton Forsberg for helping them weather that early storm, because getting outshot, I think it was 16-2 in that first period. And unbelievable that they were able to come away from that period, in a tie game in that situation, give themselves a chance to regroup in that intermission. And then really the game just started after that first period.
Yeah, and especially Martian, this is a New Jersey's Devils team with a potent offense. For them to get 16-2 shots in the first period and not get any at home in New Jersey, that's huge. And I think Sens fans, almost everyone was like, we don't want to see Forsey. We're done with Forsey. I think probably a large portion of Sens fans were perfectly fine and were really hoping the Ottawa Senators started Levi Merilainen again, or just found any random goalie on the street to go in this game instead of Anton Forsberg. And we got to give him his flowers here, because sure, he hasn't been great throughout the season, but Anton Forsberg steals this win, in my opinion, in that first period alone. And without him, they don't have a single point in this game, let alone two. And holding the Devils to regulation, I know the Devils aren't really one of those teams in that tight wild card spot race, and they're in the Metro. But still, you want to win these games in regulation and limit points that happen in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, big time, Pilsy. And with Anton Forsberg, too, I mean, there's a lot of discussion happening all of a sudden with, is this guy going to possibly lose his job as the backup? And so this is now a real high-pressure game for him, not just for the team, but for him personally, right? Coming into this one, he needs to perform to maintain his position in the NHL, and he really did his job out there tonight. I still don't know how that's all going to shake out. I think there's still probably tons of people who would say that, Marilainen's probably the guy you'd look at to be the backup going forward here. But, I mean, Anton Forsberg just did everything he could to say, hey, not so fast. I'm still here. I still got a little game left in me here. And this was just a massive steal of a win because, like you said, that Jersey team's pretty damn good. And he was making some 10 bell saves, Pilsy, on some pretty damn good players. Jack Hughes, Timo Meier, guys like that just getting chances left and right on him and some pretty high quality, 2-on-1s and on-man rushes and just like point-blank looks. And Forsberg, man, he was impressive tonight.
Yep, we're a #goalie friendly show. So when the goalies plays good, we're going to give him his credit. He had 25 saves on 26 shots, a .962 save percentage for Anton Forsberg tonight. And Martian, Forsey wasn't the only one that had some impressive stats in this game. We got to give stick taps to Zach Ostapchuk, first NHL goal. I mean, this guy had been looking for a goal for quite some time. I believe it's his 39th NHL game, and he finally gets it. A nice one. He gets that loose puck, spins around and scores. Like, that's got to be one of those, Martian, where the team is struggling to survive in this game, and then you get a big emotional boost like that. Like, I love seeing, my favorite thing when a guy scores his first NHL goal is watching the teammates. Clevin comes over, he's got a big smile, everybody's giving him stick taps on the bench. Like, that kind of emotional boost to open up the scoring of the game, I gotta feel like, sure, anyone scores that and you're feeling good, but it's especially great that it was Zach Ostapchuk that got that one.
Yeah, that's the energy pop that the team needed to probably wake up a little bit in this game, right? Yeah, that got the boys going. You could see all his old Belleville teammates. Highmore was on the ice with him. Matt and Paolo was out there. Clevin, those guys were jumping up and down, super happy for Ostapchuk because obviously he's been all around it. I mean, especially the last, I'd say, couple weeks here. He's had a few, rookie mistake moments for sure, but really when you look at what his role is as a fourth line center on this team, he's been doing a really good job, I think, so far, using his speed and size and playing, with a bit of aggression and physicality. And then to finally get that goal, man, that's got to feel good for him. He didn't quite make it to 40 games goalless in his NHL career, 39, as you said. So perfect timing. It literally couldn't have come at a better time for the team because they needed something to say, okay, we're in this game. We got a hockey game going here. It was perfect timing for Ostapchuk to get his first one.
Yeah, and the Ottawa Senators are dominant when they get the first goal. I believe Ross was saying they're 19-3-2 or something like that when they get the first goal. So, like, that is a good omen for the Ottawa Senators when they're able to open up scoring, especially after surviving an onslaught of shots from the New Jersey Devils. So that opens up the scoring, but unfortunately, Martian, doesn't really last that long as the New Jersey Devils are able to bounce back pretty quickly. I'm just trying to get the time.
A minute and 18 seconds later, I believe, Pilsy. So
you're dead on there.
It was short-lived excitement, and that's one of those little weird trends I think with this team too. After they score a goal, they do kind of tend to like maybe just get I don't know if they're just a little too excited and they just kind of fall flat in that next couple minutes after they score a goal. It has happened a few times this season. Luckily, this one didn't come back to bite them all the way in the bum, but for sure, it was pretty funny how, the Devils were dominating that entire game, couldn't get one past Forsberg, and then Sens score, and then as soon as the floodgates were open for one team, they opened for the next team too, because that goal came so fast after the fact that it was just kind of funny. We're just like, we're in this one, we're going to steal this thing, and then a minute later, they're like, nope, we're going to get that goal that we were owed now. So, just funny timing.
Yeah, you'd like to hold on to the lead a little longer there. And correction, the Sens are 19-3-0 when scoring first. So, yeah, that's definitely a good sign. But like we mentioned, they didn't get to hold on to that lead for very long. And for that being the lone goal that Anton Forsberg allows in this game, like, that's not one where Sens fans are like, come on, Forsy. Like, it's not one of those. Like, it was a great effort by Thomas Tatar to stick with his rebound, and not much chance for Anton Forsberg there. So I don't think any Sens fan is looking at this and being like, if Levy's there, it's a save and it doesn't cost us the game or the lead or anything like that, right?
No, I don't think. Yeah, definitely not. I mean, he made the first two saves on that very play, and then like the third one, I think he almost got a little piece of that. But Tatar did a good job on that backhand play to put it all the way to that far right post. and right out of Forsberg's reach. He wanted it. He was going for it, but yeah, he couldn't make it. And if you're going to say, Carolina maybe would have had it, yeah, maybe, but he probably wouldn't have saved all of those huge opportunities that New Jersey had prior to that. So, yeah, definitely not going to give Forsberg any hard time for this effort. This is probably, I would say, one of his best games of the year if you take away those shutouts that he had earlier this season. Yeah.
Well, we mentioned it, Martian. Like the only really other good game Forzy's had, other than the shutouts, we'll give him the Detroit game. He was pretty good there, but was a game up against the New Jersey Devils earlier on this year. So that was part of our reasoning, being like, look, give Levy the Boston game. Obviously, that's much more important, and you want your goalie that's performing better to be in that game, and at home, you want that. And we needed Levy in the shootout there, so that was certainly the right decision. But Forsberg had some, at least more success up against the Devils than he had against other teams in this one. So yeah, Anton Forsberg, nice game. That's got to feel good for him and the boys here. And it's a 1-1 game at that point, and the Ottawa Senators, they're able to take the lead in the third period. It's a shot that Sanderson misses. Pinto recovers it behind the net, though, and then heads up play back to Artem Zub. And who had Artem Zub scoring the game-winning goal in today's game on their bingo card? I don't think a single person placed that bet on FanDuel, because Artem Zub, before this, talk about Zach Ostapchuk getting his first goal of his career. Well, Zub's only goal this year was on an empty net. So this is Artem Zub's first goal on a goalie this season, and it's a nice wrister that beats Markstrom blocker side, and that makes it 2-1, and that's the game winner. Martian, I thought it was kind of surprising that Zub loaded up a wrister there. I feel like we mostly see clap bombs from Zub, or he just elects to kind of pass it off to a defenseman. I guess Sanderson was down low, so that wasn't an option. But the wrister was a nice little refreshing change for Artem Zub.
Yeah, and I really like that decision by him, obviously, because it ends up being a goal. But it's just a nice, well-placed shot with lots of traffic in front. Just did a really good job to make sure that it had enough pace on it to get down there, and then find that. It's Jamie McLennan's favorite line: the seeing eye shot, Pilsy. Puck had eyes, and it finds its way into the back of the net there. Another goal that's like super close to the post. I mean, I think it went post and in.
I think it did. Yeah,
in that top corner blocker side. It was just a beautifully placed shot. And Markstrom, I just don't think saw it the whole way. So great decision. Keeping it simple there from Artem Zub. Just get that thing on net and do your job out there. And that's exactly what he did. He had a great game, I thought, all around tonight as well, Zub. He was in the mixer. I like he's growing out a little, like he's got a little goatee beard thing going on right now. He maybe looks a little meaner out there than he did with the clean shave. So nice. I'm loving his energy right now, his style on the ice, especially with that, those laces wrapped around his ankles. You don't see that from many NHLers as far as style on the ice goes. So it's working for Zub. It's working for Zuby here. Couple goals this week. And Pilsy, imagine having a parlay where you parlayed Zach Ostapchuk, Artem Zub, and a Sens W. Like that thing would have paid like plus 3,000, I think. I don't think anyone tickled that, but if you did, good for you, because that is a hell of a bet.
I don't think anyone placed any of those 3 single bets, Martian. That was like, there probably wasn't that many Sens fans that rushed over to FanDuel to place a bet on the Sens to win when they saw it was Forsy starting second half of a back-to-back and against the Devils in New Jersey. And especially when we talked about how tight that travel game is. But that's why you play the games, as the Ottawa Senators get the 2-1 win in regulation against the New Jersey Devils. 20 shots on goal for the Senators, 26 for the New Jersey Devils. Nobody had any success on the power play, as the Sens go 0 for 3. The Devils go 0 for 1. Rare face-off loss in the percentage battle for the Ottawa Senators, as they get 46.5% as opposed to the New Jersey Devils 53.5. 14 blocks for the Sens, 11 for the Devils, 24 hits for the Sens, 18 for the Devils, and the 5-on-5 expected goals percentage was very close here at the end of the game. 49.7 for the Sens, giving the Devils 50.3, but it was very lopsided to start this one off in the third period. So glad the Ottawa Senators were able to even that out. And
yeah, they kind of real quick, Philzy. It's funny how they kind of reversed it on the Devils in the third period, because the Devils only had 2 shots in the third, and the Sens only had 2 shots in the first. So yeah, they did a pretty good job shutting it down and then getting some shots of their own there.
And that's what good teams have to do. And the Ottawa Senators are a good team. We'll talk about where they are in the standings later on in the postcast. But I know this game was in New Jersey, but for our good people in the nation's capital, I hope everybody is celebrating this game at our bar at the Glebe Central Pub, 779 Bank Street. Why not be at the GCP, watch a matinee Sens win, and then stick around for some Sunday night football playoff action? And there's no better place to do it than the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is our pub when we go to Ottawa. Ross and I love going there, and they love Sens fans so much. They're trying to get more Sens fans to games with the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. Go to the website and check it out. Ross has it pulled up here. Look, the Leafs are coming to town January 25th. We got to make sure those blue jerseys are less and less every time they come to the CTC. So get to the game and get there the best way with the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. Only $17 round trip. You guys know Sue the bus driver gets you there real quick, leaves early, gets to the game early, and leaves the parking lot early so you're not sitting in traffic, so you can get back to the pub and celebrate a Sens W. Visit them at 7079 Bank Street, the Glebe Central Pub. How much are the vibes, chat? You guys know the vibes are free at the GCP. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. For the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Those green numbers are in your account ASAP. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. So visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this NFL playoffs season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Woo! Martian, talking about NFL playoffs, well, looking at the standings, the P word is starting to feel more and more realistic, but we'll get to that later as the Ottawa Senators get a 2-1 win over the New Jersey Devils, and they sit in the top wildcard spot in the East with 52 points. A regulation win is always nice. We talked about how great Anton Forsberg has been. Or it was in this game, I should say. We talked about Zach Stapchuk getting his first career NHL goal and Artem Zub getting the game winner. Martian, to you, what was the biggest reason why the Ottawa Senators in the second and third period were able to get the 2 goals and hold on for the win?
I think it was just a little bit of stick-to-itiveness from the Sens here, Pilsy. And obviously, if we're omitting the first period, I think that was a period that was mainly used by them just to get their legs going underneath them. And then they just got right back to their game and how they've been playing, the last few weeks in this season. And, I think maybe that goal from obviously Ostapchuk gave them a ton of energy there. But I think it was really just like them going back to their roots of what their team identity is and should be. And I look to guys like Nick Cousins, who's all of a sudden going in there and banging bodies and causing havoc. And Ridley Gregg, same thing, getting in front of the net, pissing guys off, doing the right things to try to win the game within the game, if you're looking at things not score related. So I think that a lot of that stuff that those guys were doing out there tonight or things that are going to engage the rest of the team and get them a little bit more excited about this hockey game or emotionally invested and involved. So for me, I think it was a little bit of that. I think it was, if I had to point to one thing, maybe I'd just say the physicality and they're just the dedication to being on the right side of the puck along with that.
And good discipline too, right, Martian? Like the Devils only get 1 power play here. There was a lot of kind of chippy moments where if the Sens don't kind of pull the reins in emotionally, things can get away from them. And that is not a team you want to give the power play to. So that's good. And maybe just quickly, Martian, too, maybe a bit of karma. I'm a big believer in karma. Brady Tkachuk gets what appears to be high sticked in the face. Not really the case. And immediately, instead of just kind of skating to the bench and just getting the power play, which they needed at the time, he goes to the refs and says, no, don't call that. Like, that's not a good penalty. He didn't really get me. I just thought he did. Like, don't call it. The refs huddle and they say, well, I mean, if Brady Tkachuk's saying it's not a penalty, like, we got to take him at his word. No penalty. And the Sens get some good karma for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely, Pillsy. And I honestly didn't like seeing that. It's like, Brady, just take the power play, man.
And they needed it at that point.
Yeah, don't need to be a good guy here. Maybe just do your thing and let it slide. The only time, Pillsy, I ever remember seeing another player do that, for some reason it's stuck in my memory. I remember Alex Ovechkin doing it a couple years ago against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
He was tripped, but he got up and said, that was not a tripping penalty. I just fell on my own. And the refs did the same thing, went to the huddle, had a quick conversation, and then ended up withdrawing their call. So it's nice to see the refs, eat a little crow on their own decisions out there. Maybe that's what Brady was thinking, being like, hey, boys, you got that one wrong, and it's on the other end of things than you'd expect me to say. But, maybe it was karma, because a couple calls came our way shortly after that in that period.
Yeah, and karma always finds a way to come back for you. And speaking of which, our Sens Central citizens coming up with the boots on the ground report, they always have a way of finding their way back to us, no matter where it is. Cheryl and Evan seem to be on the case, boots on the ground in every away rink in the league. Guys, great to have you back here. I asked Martian this to start off the postcast, so I'll start with you, Cheryl. How likely did you think it was the Ottawa Senators could sneak out a regulation win after the first period?
Honestly, after the first period, I was pretty positive about it. So obviously,
Okay.
I was. The shots on goal didn't look great, right? Of course, but I was like, there's something about it. I felt they were engaged. They felt both relaxed and engaged at the same time. I was like, I don't know. I feel really good. Like, I think my response, to your first period thoughts tweet was like, they're not going to lay down today. Like, okay. I think personally, I thought they had it.
Evan?
Yeah, look, I was worried Forsberg had so much time off, but I mean, it was kind of a blessing to get that many shots. Like, he shook off the rust before our eyes in that first period, and to wither it. I mean, I as the first period ended, I breathed a sigh of relief, and I'm like, man, they usually come out strong in the second. Like, this is a good place. We survived that.
Yeah, it was survival for sure. With the boots on the ground report, I'm always curious. Evan, how many other Sens fans did you see in the building? Because I feel like New Jersey's kind of a weird one for Ottawa. I'm not sure how to gauge the level of Ottawa Senators fans that will be there. So give us a ballpark amount.
Happy to. I mean, we've been to a few now. This was actually one of the better fan experiences.
Okay.
Look, Newark is not one of the U.S.'s finest cities. That's being really kind to this place.
Don't say that too loud.
Oh yeah, we're reporting from Penn Station.
In the station.
No, but look, on that note, like, we were going around yelling "Go Sens, go!" high-fiving at the end of the game. I mean, I was actually a little surprised no one said anything. It was actually really docile crowd. It was family day. It is the middle of the day, but
Fair.
we did a lot of, fun away fans things that usually piss everybody off. In a positive way. We didn't say anything negative about anybody else. We were just enjoying ourselves. We met the group who tweeted that it was their 30th birthday. We met someone from Canada, someone from Stittsville. Like, nice. Sens fans found each other. We had fun together. It's a small, proud crew, and we really felt that today, even in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's awesome, guys. You guys are on a hell of a little road trip here. I was curious. We're always doing this where we like to ask, who I'm gonna leave out Anton Forsberg from this question though, because I feel like he's an obvious choice. But for you guys, who was your biggest standout as far as skaters go for the Sens tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to eat a little crow about Forsberg because I was hard on him last Saturday after the Pittsburgh game, saying, like, it had to be Levy, and it still needs to be Levy, number one. But while Armok is out, but I was going to say I thought Sanderson was really impressive today. If I had to go with someone else, I mean, there are a couple of obvious choices I didn't mention, so I'll leave them for Evan. But I thought Sanderson held the line really well, and he was noticeable today, so I'll go with him.
You guys really called out Zub, and I'm doing my Zub goatee myself. Even cheered out in Russian for him. He deserved a lot because that goal was amazing, and shoring up the defense in the last two periods. Not just him, but he was solid, and that really showed. But I have to go with the stop chuck. The boy did his first NHL goal. That's a huge thing. The team needed that first goal. The first goal changed the way they played, which is not surprising, but it was awesome to see, and he deserves that shout out.
Now, I believe this is not the end of your road trip following the Sens here. When's your next game, guys?
It'll be March 3rd in DC, which is not much of a road trip because that's a metro ride away for us. So we're very excited to be there. And who knows? I mean, if we get like first round playoffs against the Caps, we'll be there. I don't know if we'll make it to Ottawa this season, but we'll definitely be there on March 3rd. We have our tickets.
Yeah, and you might not make it in the season, but for the playoffs, you got to be there for a home game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks again for joining Cheryl and Evan. Always a blast having you guys on. And I'm sure we'll see you again when you're in the Americans' capital.
That's
Sens versus Capitals, two capital cities going at it. So thanks, guys. We always appreciate you. And go Sens, go.
Go Sens, go.
All right. There's Cheryl and Evan, absolute beauty. Sens fans that are doing the Lord's work, traveling from arena to arena. And we've had them on a couple times here. So absolutely incredible. The Boots on the Ground report has been one of Ross's best ideas of many on this show. So we love having fans that are on Boots on the Ground that give us a report of what the vibe is, how many Sens fans are there, their Sens Central standouts, all of those sort of things. Martian, were you surprised that both of them said they weren't worried and felt positive about the Ottawa Senators after the first period?
I mean, kind of, but maybe that's just what you get when you're boots on the ground, and you can really get a good sense for how the team is looking and feeling when you're in the building, and the energy might be just a little bit different than it was for us on TV, sitting on our couches, being nervous for this one. So I don't know, maybe that's just all it is, Pilsy, or maybe they're just they're just confident in this team, and I think there's reason to be that way, especially lately, the way they've been going. I think there's a good thing, there's a good vibe around this team. So. The first period was rocky, but getting through that period 0-0, that's all they could really do, and it worked out.
Yeah, and it worked out great. A 2-1 win for the Ottawa Senators, and we got a little surprise for you. We got a double Boots on the Ground report here as more Sens Central citizens are going to give us their thoughts on the game after a quick word from our friends over at SelectQuote. In sports, having a winning strategy is everything. It's how the best teams make it to the Super Bowl, the World Series, the Olympics, and I'll say it, the Stanley Cup. The same goes for life. Having a strategy like life insurance from SelectQuote can protect your financial legacy and keep your family's future secure. SelectQuote makes it easy to find the perfect life insurance policy. As one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, they've helped over 2 million customers find $700 billion? Is that a typo? $700 billion in coverage since 1985. What sets SelectQuote apart is their personal touch. Unlike other brokers that offer one-size-fits-all policies, their licensed agents tailor coverage to fit your unique needs. If you're in good health, you might even qualify for same-day coverage of up to $5 million, no medical exam required. And it's more affordable than you'd think. You can get up to $1 million in coverage for as little as $20 a month. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. Go to selectquote.com/lockedonnhl today to get started. One more time for the people in the nosebleeds, that's selectquote.com/lockedonnhl. SelectQuote. They shop, you save. All right, Sens fans, we got 581 Sens fans in the chat and 2 more Boots on the Ground report from our guys, Avi and Shmuel Bolka. They were at the game, a 2-1 Ottawa Senators win. Boys, how are we feeling after that one?
Fantastic. Although we're not on the ground anymore, we're on the car. But
you're on the road.
Well, you were boots on the ground.
We were definitely. Yeah, it was an unbelievable game. I actually agree with the sentiment from Sharon and Evan. Like, I think, going into the game, we weren't so confident, but after that first period, there was definitely a lot of confidence.
Shmuel, you feel the same way?
Absolutely. I really, I'll be honest. I did not think they were gonna win the game before it started. We ran into to Ian Mendez before the game. He had mentioned that the team came in really late, and so it wouldn't have surprised me to see them get blitzed in the first period with 2 or 3 goals. And after they held them, okay, fine. That was their big push. The Devils. I didn't watch it, but the Devils sounds like they had a pretty bad game yesterday. They only had 13 shots, so it looked like they were trying to, do whatever they could in that first period. And after they didn't score, we weathered the storm. So, yeah, we had the same sort of confidence, I think.
Now, this is Anton Forsberg's first game in a while, and he had to face 16 shots in the first period. I'm sure the first couple shots you're a little nervous, being like, oh no, are we going to get the same old Forsy? But once he kind of settled in and got 6, 7, 8 saved, did you start to feel that confidence in him, or were you still like, I mean, he's doing well so far, but we can't fully trust him yet? Like, what was your confidence level, Abby?
I hate to say it, but I think it's the latter on that one. I mean, he made some great saves, and he kept them in this game. This was, definitely a great game, but, the confidence wasn't there fully. I could, definitely a little tense at points, when pucks bounced in the zone, just not crisp handling, but, he played really well. I'm not going to take that away from him.
I think I felt the same way. I wasn't definitely that third period was a pretty nervous time for sure, but give him credit. He did it.
Yeah, now we always like to ask Sens fans that have boots on the ground, what was the Sens attendance level there of Sens fans? Did you feel a vibe of fellow Sens fans, or was it a little more sparse than usual? How'd you guys feel about that?
It was probably a lot better. We went to the Islander game also, and it was, I think, a little more than the Islander game.
Absolutely. I was actually surprised. It was actually a pretty good showing. One of the things that I hate about it when they play the Devils is, some of the colors are sort of similar, so you have to do a double check.
Yeah.
Avi actually photobombed. They had one of those guys, taking video of the fans, in between play.
So I jumped in there with my Sens logo and I got booed. It was amazing. I got a couple texts from some other Sens fans at the game saying, "Hey, I saw you on the Jumbotron there," but it was
nice.
There's nothing like getting booed at an away arena.
That's a nice move. I love that move. That's a sassy little tamale you just put up there for them. So I love that out of you. Yeah, I would have done the same thing if you know me. That's I love a good photo bomb.
It was actually in the first period, so it was a little risky. It wasn't like they were
that is risky. Yeah. Hey, it worked out for you.
True, love that. Two more absolute beauty Sens fans, both Sens Central citizens, Avi and Shmuel Bulka. We had a couple weeks ago, we had a boots on the ground report from the train. Now we got boots on the ground report from the car. We're going for boats, planes, maybe a helicopter next. We appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you so much. And as always, go Sens go.
Go Sens go.
There we go. Awesome. Love the boots on the ground reports. Two great guys that have followed the Sens for a long time and have supported our show. So we can't thank the Bulkas enough. Martian, we haven't had our Sens Central standouts yet. So let's get to our Sens Central standouts presented by the Glebe Central Pub. Normally I hand it off to you, Martian, but I would like to take this one because we're a hashtag goalie friendly show. Anton Forsberg has cut a lot of attention from Sens fans. People saying waive him, trade him, who cares, get him out of here. Well, he's the reason they win this game, and we got to give him obviously a lot of credit for that first period. The Sens get outshot 16-2. He saves all 16 of them, and in my notes, my first four notes are Forsy saves, Bratt one-timer, Forsy glove save, Lazard to Tatar backdoor, Forsy big save across the crease, Hughes nice deke around the defender, goes backhand on Forsy, pad save, Mercer shot, Forsy blocker save. Like, he was just dialed in, and Ross noted on Twitter that at Sens Central that Forsy tends to do better when he gets a lot more shots. So we saw it there, him getting peppered with shots, but then we got to give him credit, because it's tough when you face all those shots to start a game, and then you only get 7 shots against in the second period. And then when your team needs it most, you're protecting a 2-1 lead. You only get 3 shots in the third. It would be easy for him to kind of have the excuse, oh man, let's in a stinker because he's kind of out of the game mentally or physically because he hasn't had a lot of shots. Not the case. He's strong when he had to be. So I know Sens fans are down on Forsy right now. It's cool to be dunking on him, but this is a huge game for him. I got to expect, as a professional, watching Levi Merilainen come in. Obviously, goalies are supportive of each other, but you got an ego too. And when they give the nod to Levi on that back-to-back game, Forsy's sitting there and he's got to be feeling the pressure and, got to be saying, man, they're not even going to be on a back-to-back. They're going with the young guy here. So now they go with him on the back-to-back this time, and he has a huge game against the Devils. So my first Sens Central standout, Anton Forsberg.
Yeah, and I think you said that's the reason why it was such an important game for him. I think he just feels the pressure of Lalime being right there. And I mean, I was joking about it during the game. It's like, I mean, we're going to end up talking about Anton Forsberg here because he seems to be the only storyline in this game for, 20 minutes of this postcast. And we've come pretty close, I think, Pilsy. So nobody can say we don't give Forsberg his flowers when it's time. We're still a very goalie-friendly show. So Anton Forsberg, definitely deserving of a good standout here tonight, Pilsy. And I think this is another guy I'm going to go with here that doesn't get a ton of opportunities from us to be a Sens Central standout because he's such a low-key player. And that's Artem Zub. I think tonight was one of those nights that was, he stood out. So you gotta let him give him the shout out as a standout in this one. 5 blocks from Artem Zub out there tonight, and a few of them were kind of key ones. Off his feet, he's putting his body on the line for the team night in, night out. Solid 21 minutes and 48 seconds time on ice out there, and of course he had the seeing eye wrister goal from the point. So anytime he scores a goal, he's going to get a chance for me to be a Sens Central standout. So Artem Zub, hell yeah, brother. Let's keep that going because that's the kind of defense we need. Just a lot of great stick checks I found too out of Forsberg on those Zub on those odd man rushes. He was breaking up plays all night or all afternoon, I should say. So let's go with Zub for me.
And how about one shot, one goal? Attaboy, Artem Zub. And the big part is him playing well with Sanderson again. Like that is just so crucial for this team having success. And I know apart from the Boston game, a bunch of the Sens games have been low event here, and we're kind of getting on the big dogs being like, all right, we got to get some offense cooking here. But if you can play a smart, structured defensive game, and I believe obviously the goaltending is the key to that, but then having your top shutdown pair in Sanderson and Zub getting back to form, that's massive for this team to have long-term success. So I like that. Martian, Artem Zub, definitely deserving of a standout.
Yeah, and I think too, Sanderson should get an honorable mention from us here out of this one because him and Zub. I liked it. You could see them having a few conversations between whistles and on the bench as well. So it's good to see, even though there's probably a bit of a language barrier there for Artem Zub. Them being able to have conversations about the game to try to work some stuff out obviously worked. So good stuff. Good communication from Sanderson and Zub.
Well, and that was Sanderson kind of joked about it, which is that you don't get a lot of jokes from Sanderson when they asked him. Well, this was a while ago when Hamonic got injured, and they said, so what's the biggest difference playing no Travis Hamonic and now with Artem Zub? And Sandy goes, well, one of the guys speaks perfect English, the other one doesn't. That was his one. That was it. He didn't get into their play or anything about him. He was like, that's it. No other differences. And Sens fans would agree. Same exact style player, just one's English, one's Russian, right? But yeah, it's awesome that Sanderson and Zub are a pair again, and it's looking good. We got to give an honorable mention to Zach Stapchuk, first NHL goal, and I don't really have any other honorable mentions, Martian. Maybe I thought Tim Stützle actually had a good game. He had a lot of chances. Classic Tim Stützle holding on to the puck too long on multiple chances there. But I thought his best play was, I forget what period it was, maybe the second, where he kind of had the puck with some time and space and obviously looks past, but holds, waits for the defenseman to get down, and then flicks it over to Claude Giroux that had a really nice opportunity backdoor. Like, obviously, sometimes you're like, just get the puck on net and maybe get a rebound pass, like a pad save pass. But that was an example of how Tim Stützle, he knows if he's patient enough and has control of the puck, he can perform some of those creative passes like that, and he was able to do so there. So I thought Tim Stützle had a nice game today.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And that one was funny because you could see the big smile on Tim Stützle's face after Drew didn't score that one, because Drew would be giving him a hard time if it was the other way around. So Timmy was kind of relishing the chance to be like, hey, G, you didn't like that pass? I mean, it was right in your tape. You were point blank. Like, you got to bury that one for me there, buddy. And I think that's just like that kind of good competitive banter between teammates that'll keep the competitive nature alive in this group. And I don't know, Timmy's skating tonight was a little off, I thought, especially in the first half of the game. He seemed like he was falling quite a bit, but that might just be a little bit tired from yesterday, maybe. But Timmy overall had a good game too.
Yeah, and we'll give them a little bit of a break there because, yeah, the travel schedule for them was just nuts. And the schedule makers hate the Ottawa Senators, always putting them through this stuff. I mean, every team has to deal with travel and schedule issues too, so we can't fully complain here. But that was certainly a tough one. But the Ottawa Senators don't use it as an excuse. They battle through, they grind it through, and they get the 2-1 win over the New Jersey Devils here. Martian, any final thoughts before we conclude this postcast?
I think I said it on yesterday's postcast, and I'm going to say it again. Start the car. They really had no business. They had no business coming away with 2 points in this one. I think a lot of people look at this game as a scheduled loss with our
Not me.
backup or possibly third string goalie. It depends on who you are and how you look at things in the net. So that was one of those ones where if you just look at it on paper, Sens are probably less likely to come away with 2 points than they are. So to get them here and get 4 points in 2 days on this weekend, you still got these games in hand. You got the Rangers coming up on Tuesday. It's going to be a hell of a ride for the rest of this stretch here, and the Sens have put themselves in a really nice position.
Yeah, the rest of this week, I'll get to the standings in just a sec. The rest of this week, though, on the road to the New York Rangers, on the road to the Boston Bruins, and then at home to the Leafs. I mean, if you want meaningful games and playoff atmosphere style matchups, that's it right there. But speaking of playoff style matchups, let's get to the standings. The Ottawa Senators now sitting at 52 points. We don't do this often. Usually we have it organized by wildcard rankings, Martian, but producer Ross is feeling feisty today, and he's got it divided into divisions. Atlantic Division, your Ottawa Senators sit 1 point behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, you got to mention the Tampa Bay Lightning have 2 games in hand, but just 1 point back. Martian, it's not that crazy to think that that third spot in the division is within the Senators' grasp, at least.
It totally is, Pilsy. It absolutely is. And I think just a few weeks ago, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were looking at these standings after they were on their little bit of a heater before they, went on a little bit of a skid. And I was looking at the Boston Bruins as a team that they should have been able to catch when the Bruins were up in that top 3 in the division standings. And now the Bruins are kind of sitting there in our rearview mirror. We got games in hand on 1 game in hand on them still, 2 points up on them. But they're no longer, in my opinion, a team that we need to really worry a whole ton about. I think they're trending in the wrong direction. And now you look to the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is a team that you should be basically setting as a standard for what you want the Sens to eventually become, and that's a perennial winning team who plays the right way every night and has been in the playoffs for the last however many years with a couple Stanley Cups in there as well. So that's a team you're chasing, that's a team you're emulating, and if you can give them a good run for their money in these standings, that's obviously going to be huge.
With the Ottawa Senators sitting in the top wild card spot right now, and the Toronto Maple Leafs sitting in the top spot in the Atlantic Division, our guy Nick Spence points out, if playoffs started today, Sens versus Leafs. I mean, I think a lot of Sens fans are hungry for that. But as of now, they're 1 point ahead of the Columbus Blue Jackets in the wild card race. That's what you want to see from the Ottawa Senators. So my final thought, Martian, is this weekend was just so massive. Like being down 5-3 to the Boston Bruins, pulling the goalie, scoring a goal to get it to within 1 goal, and then tying it up with 12 seconds left and then winning in the shootout is just so huge. And then against all odds, beating the New Jersey Devils on the road for that second half of the back-to-back and surviving a 16-2 outshot first period and winning in regulation 2-1 and getting 4 points this weekend. Like, these are the types of weekends and strings, collections of games that we're going to look back at the end of the season, Martian, and be like, these had a huge part of deciding whether the Sens make it or don't to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I would say, especially, this one tonight, against a really good New Jersey team, you got to win these games against these good teams if you're going to have any chance. And they're finding a way to win, and they're learning how to win a little bit more consistently lately. And it's just it's fun to watch, Pilsium. I think we've all deserved this for a good amount of time. So I just really hope they can keep it going.
Sens fans deserve this. Sens fans are best in class. All 585 of you. Thank you to Cheryl and Evan for the boots on the ground report. And then a rare double boots on the ground report with 2 people each time. So 4 boots on the ground reports from citizens, really, with Avi and Shmuel Bolka joining as well. So it's a vibe cast where we're a show for fans, by fans, Sens fans in van. Thank you. Late to the Vibecast, but loved that physical play by Timmy in the dying seconds. Yep. We talked about how we thought Timmy had a good game here, and that is a very good point adding to that. First NHL goal from Zach Ostapchuk. Artem Zub with the game winner. Anton Forsberg gets the win. A 2-1 win over the New Jersey Devils on the road in New Jersey. Thank you to all 597 of you in the chat. For myself, Brandon Pillar, Lalime's Martian, producer Ross behind the scenes, this has been another edition of the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.